Am I correct? Is it not? Where the Russia-Ukraine war comes in this? Political. Correct? So there will be multiple events happen which will create the uncertainty. So these are the 6 factors we all read Pestel. The Pestel context was created by a person called Professor Narayan. Okay, you should remember it. Okay. The other 5, which are microeconomics, created by Michael Porter. When you get to him, you will hear a lot about him. The 5 forces he talks about. So what impacts your business? First ones. Supplier, buyer, competition, new entrants and substitutes. I have consciously put the substitutes in that corner, not because I don't have space. I could have greater space. Consciously put substitute in the corner. Let us understand the substitute meaning very clearly. Who is the competition for Asian Paints? Nerolac, Nippon. Just for a minute, look around your room and tell me who is the look around this hall and tell me who is the competition for Asian Paints. For Asian Paints. Look around your hall and tell me, who is the competition for Asian Paints? Yeah. Lamination. Take correct. Where is the paint here? Asian Paints nahi hai. Lamination. What else? Wallpaper. Beautiful. Then sun mica. Yeah, vinyl. And your what do you call your tiles? Glass. Sign Dubai. Carpet. If you look at carefully, there is no Asian paint competition, which is a paint company here in this room, right? Yeah, are you getting my point? So, substitute is one which is the most dangerous, which you don't even realize from where it comes and hits. One of the biggest competition for companies making pesticide is going to be Microsoft. How come? Microsoft is a competition for pesticide company. Does it make any sense? Think intelligently, think laterally and tell me. Microsoft is going to compete with companies making pesticides. They have a huge data analytics center in Hyderabad, which is primarily doing the data analytics on climate prediction, soil condition, thereby communicate to farmers the right time to sow the seed and minimize the use of pesticide. Now tell me, is Microsoft competing with pesticides now? In a digital world, we don't know from where the competition comes. Substitute is one of the biggest threats for any business. You don't even realize it. Am I correct? The black swan event comes in directly at that time. Yeah, go further. So these disruptions, go further. If you have to look at these disruptions carefully, go further. You have to understand the whole world in the context of a simple matrix. This matrix has got 4 boxes. All of you will know the next 3 boxes. Am I correct? The first box is a known box. Known boxes. I know the challenge. I know the solution also. Simple, clear manufacturing context. If I put in some X amount of material, I will get X into 90% output consistently. Known. If I catch the train at Vashi, how long will it come to? Nerul. Known. So for the known factors is called business as usual. Correct? All your things which is comfortable for you to do, you can do it well. Correct? For example, when you are riding your bike on a highway, predominantly known. But you are going for an off-road, what do you expect? What do you expect? You cannot expect anything. What you cannot expect? A gadda, correct, manhole, a tree on the way. Am I correct? You can list around 5 or 6 items like this. Go to the next one. They are known unknowns. Correct? I know this will be there. I don't know where it is there because I'm going for off-roading in a totally different direction of it. Correct? So that means you are having some kind of a plan. So what you will do when you sense a gadda, what you will do? You try to slow. Correct? You try to understand this in a little bit better. For example, is it not? Over a period of time, if you go in the same direction off-roading again and again, you will get used to it. It becomes known. So known unknown, you normally plan for it. Then comes the next domain. What is the next domain? Unknown known. What is unknown known? Unknown known is I don't know, but my customer knows it. My customer has got some jugaad karke, he is able to address this particular situation. My customer knows that. I'll give an simple example. For example, this watch is Titan Edge. Okay. Titan Edge, when they position the watch, is meant for people who want to buy a watch as a luxury. I never got it. I got it gifted. Okay. So now, HNI is what? High net worth individuals is who's going to buy this. Somebody is going to buy. One of the biggest HNI group in India is doctors. Right? Okay. Tell me why doctors did not buy this watch?
So because it's like more of a business kind of watch.
Tell me specific reason. Give it to him. Hey, you should come back to me, huh?
Because they don't need watch.
If they want a digital watch, it can precise it at the time.
What they prefer analog watches. Actually, when they do pulse rate and all. It's an analog watch. What is missing there? Second hand is missing there. When you don't have a second hand in the watch, I cannot check the pulse. Are you getting my point? They were wondering why the customer is not buying this watch. I net worth individual is not buying the watch. He is not buying because it's useless for him. He wants a watch, yes or not, which is going to give him the seconds. So the digital he has to see. Are you getting my point? In this one, easily you can see that how it rotates. Now they come up with a new edge, which has got second hand. So the unknown known is I don't know what your challenge is. When I go and observe what you're having, I'm able to come to a solution. Bookmyshow.com example is full of unknown nodes. Make sense now? This is where you have the customer's latent gates. Latent means we can't see it. Then comes the fourth domain, unknown, which is uncertain. COVID-19 in 2020, not in 2022. We got used to it. Am I correct? So, 2 weeks back I was absolutely sick. I am 100% sure it was COVID. I didn't even test it. Okay, everybody got it also. It was coming like everybody was ready. So we got used to it. 00650 will be good enough for that. So now, this first two boxes, now you can press again, is a certain area. The bottom press again, and press again, press again. Yeah. This is certain and this is uncertain. But the challenge is, as a world, the level of uncertainty keeps increasing. And as an individual, we always live in a kind of uncertainty. Therefore, what are we going to do? Let's press again. For that, we have to understand there are three ways we can react to this. The first way we react is what is called as a fragile way. A fragile way meaning, I'm out. When uncertain event happens, I'm out. I get my Kodak moment. What is a Kodak moment? Kodak moment. What about Kodak?
Company
Exactly.
photo.
Camera. Again, correct. So what happened to the company?
I guess it went bankrupt in just a day, something like that. But then it was very famous.
Ah.
All of a sudden,
Why it went bankrupt?
it keep up with that trend.
What is the trend?
The digital cameras.
Digital camera came up. Am I correct? So in fact, when you used to use that Kodak film, we used to count, check with your dads. We used to count, hey, I got 36 pictures in this film. I got 37, each 38 like that. So when my first kid was born, I was taking every photograph. I remember every photograph because I had to count the films. The second one, I snapped much more photographs, but I don't even remember a single event of this photograph. Because digital camera. Who introduced digital camera to the world? Who introduced digital camera to the world? Yeah? Kodak. Kodak only. Sonda Salvala Sunyo. Kodak is the company which brought the digital camera to the world for the first time. They never realized digital camera is going to be critical. They lost out. fragile. When a major event happens, I collapse. This is typically the first reaction of people. During pandemic, COVID period, you found a lot of people fell out and they could not get up also. Am I correct? So this is typically the first reaction. Second reaction is resilient. So there's a Damocles sword. If you got the first one is Damocles. This particular slide is not my slide. It is from Taleb himself. Okay. Taleb wrote another book called Anti-Fragility. It is from that book. Okay. So give the credit to him, not to me. So the first one is Damocles sword. Damocles sword is, you know, Damocles sword story, no? Damocles wanted to be king. Okay, then the king said, okay, you be the king. He was very happy, enjoying the comfort. One day the king, what do you call, put one sword about him, which is tied to a horse hair. It's above your head. Can you sleep at all? You're absolutely disturbed. I said, no, I don't want to be here. He said, the king's job is like that. There's always a Damocles sword on top of your head. So, fragile company, there's a Damocles sword of a technology changing Kodak film. Nokia. Same way. Correct? Yeah, exactly. So, you take so many companies, they come and go, they vanish. Correct? That what is that education company, Lido, right? Ludo, which recently shut down their operations in January. So there are quite a few companies. They start and then they vanish. This is typically fragile. Second level is resilient, like a phoenix. You know about phoenix, you know? You burn the phoenix, the phoenix comes back again. At the same level, it doesn't grow. The resilience comes fundamentally withstanding any kind of a change, but you're able to hold yourself. So it comes from being small. Small, not necessarily in terms of size, in terms of the nimbleness. So being resilient is very critical. So when a black swan event happens, how you are able to recover yourself and keep your poise is very critical. Am I correct? But the black swan kind of events that keep on happening, what you should do? You have to use it to your advantage, like a hydra. Go to the next one. You know this hydra? Hydra is primarily you cut one head, two heads grow. Yeah, around one head you cut, one head grows. Hydra you cut one head, two heads grow. So it becomes more powerful with every additional stress. So if you want to really survive in the longer run, you have to become anti-fragile as an individual and as an organization. Now so far I have been talking about organization, I'm going to talk about individuals now, about you and me. Survival is not survival of the fitter, it is survival of the fittest. The fittest is not the strongest one, it is the one which is able to adapt itself better to the environment. Am I correct? Is it not? How you are able to adapt yourself to the environment and then grow with the environment is what your fittest becomes. It may be too early to say, but still I am doing this. Let us take the case of Amazon. Amazon is a profitable company. Yes or no? It is, correct? What are the businesses Amazon has? Huh? The three major segments they have. One is North America operations, second is rest of the world operations, third is Amazon Web Services. 2021 result, if you look at 2021 financial result, if you look at it, I have not seen the 2022 yet. 2021 financial result, if you look at it, 90% sales comes from North America and rest of the world operation. 10% sales comes from Amazon Web Service. 90% profit comes from Amazon Web Service. 10% profit comes from the other two operations. When Amazon started, it was not an IT company in that sense. Am I correct? Amazon fundamentally is a company to connect buyer and a supplier into a remote place. But with the time, they metamorphosized themselves into a technology company. A technology company which is able to survive in that situation. And they started selling their Amazon Web Service, which is primarily the back end of Amazon. Are you getting my point? That is the kind of a hack. You are able to recover faster. Xiaomi is another classic example. You can do Google search on Xiaomi. How you are able to utilize a kind of a disadvantage to your advantage. How do you make the disadvantage work? Is primarily when you are able to utilize the disadvantage situation, go bigger. So this is where I want to move further now into, if you want to go further, you have to blaze your trail. What's the meaning of blaze your trail?
On your
Not burn your bridge. Blaze your trail. You should create a trail, not follow the beaten path of everybody else. Right? So when you talk about blaze your trail, how do I blaze my trail? How do I know my trail at all? How do I know which direction I'm supposed to go and blaze it? Am I correct? So I'll give some simple clues for looking at this. Right? So let us start with the cookie story. Go for it. Anybody knew this fellow? Anybody. He was there much before you had any idea. Am I correct? His name was Richard Hadley. Heard about the name Richard Hadley? Okay, Richard Hadley at one point of time was the highest wicket taker in the world, 432 wickets. His record was beaten by Kapil Dev, 434 wickets. Richard Hadley was an all-rounder from New Zealand. Wait. Richard Hadley came to India in 1988 for playing a series. I was 21, 22 at that time, impressionable age at that point of time. And the press reporters asked the same useless question to everybody. If you are not doing this, what do you do? What nonsense here. I'm doing it, no? Appreciate it. Okay, if you are not become a cricketer, what would have been? He said, no, I don't know. I don't know what I would have been. But he made a very powerful statement, that is, I don't think many people get paid for what they love to do. What's it do? I wish I have the what we call the presenter in my hand. Not many get paid for what they love to do. I am one of those blessed ones. See, somewhere in that time, at that age, it stuck with me like anything. Which was much before 3 Idiots came. Am I correct? 3 Idiots is the same thing he talks about, correct? Look at what you're loving, what you're doing good at, then try to focus on that. So when you want to be anti-fragile, you have to have a mindset that I will keep exploring and finding out what is that which makes me peaceful. I'm not even using the word happy, peaceful. So not many get paid for what I love to do. So that may be the reason why I start exploring that particular thing. So many of the previous speakers who have talked about their journey, correct? None of them had a very specific thing and then went and attacked it. They keep exploring, they keep modifying, they keep changing, and then they move further. This is the way it is going to be. I was having a workshop in Pune. I took my son there for the workshop. Just after he completed the design, I told him to do the program along with me. He'll be one of the faculty. Okay. So, but that fellow was very clear. He said, no, I will not be a faculty. I will help you to create cases and all this stuff. But he made a very interesting observation. He said, of the 34 people in this, the audience, who are all people with around 15 to 20 years experience, none of them are doing what they were doing 20 years earlier. I'm talking about the domain itself. Somebody started a career as a service engineer, now he's in HR. Somebody started career as an accountant, now he is an advertising agency. Not even a single person out of this 34 are doing what they were doing when they started their career. So please be clear. You have to keep exploring. And we have to keep exploring. How to explore, we will see that further. Please go further. I'm going to show, is the audio connected to this? I don't think so. I want to see this video for 4 minutes. Okay, and then we'll talk about this video. Hey, nice energy. Okay, I will give the voice over. No issues. She's not coming. Yeah. See, this is about Olympics 1968. Just pause it for a minute. Just pause it for a minute. 1968 Olympics. This is about high jumping. Okay, any high jumper here? No one? Right? Okay, what kind of, how do you jump? Don't show it now. Okay, so back, you do the back, so what? Not the scissors.
Yeah, I do the back.
What is it called?
What height?
No, what is it called? The back one is called Fosbury flop.
Yeah.
Fosbury flop. Okay. See, this story is about Fosbury. Okay, look at the story carefully, then see the video. With my voice also, you can easily understand. See, Olympic event originally when they started, high jump when it started, the rule was you should stand and jump. So when you stand and jump is the rule first. So typically what you do, you try to improvise further. So you try to bend more and then jump so you can get a better position, right? Or you stand like this, jump like this, then you can get a better position, better height like this. Then the rule change happened. When the rule change said, they said you can run and jump, right? Then came the method called scissors. Scissors means like a scissor. Imagine this is a man. Hey, wait, go back.
Sorry. Sir, I'm just taking the audio.
Enjoy it. Okay. So when you are jumping like this, typically what you call you are doing a scissors, primarily like a hurdle. Am I correct? When you're doing the scissor, you are able to jump better. Again, how do I improve it? I run from a long distance. I get a propulsion here and then jump all these stuff. Then a rule change came in 1930s which said that any part of the body can cross the bar first. Then they came up with a method called straddle. Straddle is a method where you jump from the front, but you throw one leg along with this and then jump. So in that process, you are able to get a better elevation. Voice is coming? Voice is coming? It's okay, it's not coming fine. No, it's not coming. Okay. Wait. Hold it. Let it be there. Pause it. So with a straddle, you are able to jump better. That means the rule has changed, so you have to change those. Am I correct? But old habits die hard. The earlier rule was you have to cross the leg first. The later rule was any part of the body can cross the bar, what you call bar first. But still the leg was coming along with the body. This is what happens, what we call as cognitive bias. You can write down this word, cognitive bias. So about 130 plus cognitive biases every human being has. Old habits die hard, we say. The cognitive bias was hurting the person, and therefore we are still throwing the leg. Then came another method called Western roll, where you are jumping with the front down, then you are jumping. Right? In 1960s, late 1960s, there was a guy called Fosbury. That Fosbury was a lousy straddler. In fact, people used to say he can't even jump over a chair. He was such a bad jumper. So, but Fosbury is a physics guy. So he combined his physics knowledge with jumping and all those stuff and came up and said that there's another method of jumping. We will jump backward. How he came to the idea? Fosbury was also a gymnast. In gymnastics, there is a routine called flip-flop routine. You might have seen it in floor gymnastics, where they take a back jump and then stand like this, flip and flop. So when you do a flop, he was able to realize that he was able to get a higher elevation. So he decided I will use a flop for jumping over the bar. Visualize it carefully. You are picking up an idea from a totally different sport altogether and bringing the idea to this sport and trying it out in this case. When he first came, everybody said he's a two-legged camel. He's doing something crazy. Fosbury came, jumped, set a new world record, and subsequently Fosbury never came for Olympics, but the name Fosbury was continuously happening in the Olympics. He blazed his own trail because he was able to identify something which is totally different from the existing environment. So when you are able to realize your dream by looking beyond your current constraints, you can come up with multiple ideas. Let us quickly have a look at the video. Though the voice is not there, you can still say
The Olympic high jump changed forever on October 20th, 1968. The location was Mexico City. All was normal until a gangly 21-year-old civil engineering student in mismatched running shoes did this. That man's name was Dick Fosbury. And although it may not seem unusual to your eyes now, in 1968 it was revolutionary. On that day in Mexico City, the Olympic Games saw its first Fosbury flop, and it has rarely seen anything else ever since. The high jump has been a part of the Olympic Games since the beginning. Faster, higher, stronger, it's their motto. And down the years, techniques have changed to inch that little bit higher. What started with a standing jump went through a period where scissors were the vogue. Then a straddle and the Western roll. Each a little better than the last. But over in Portland, Oregon, in the mid-1960s, the young Dick Fosbury was a lousy straddler. He watched his hero Valerie Brumell break record after record, but the only thing Fosbury broke was his hand. Someone had bet him he couldn't jump over a chair, and he couldn't. But that was before Fosbury tried something new. He married up his engineering know-how with what his body was doing naturally as he ran up to the bar. Fosbury applied some mechanics and learned that by arching his back, a jumper's center of gravity can stay below the bar, even as the body sailed over it.
If they get into that perfect arch, it's a mechanical advantage to use that technique.
Jumpers before took off from the foot nearest the bar and span in the air to kick their other leg over first. But Fosbury changed the run-up and flipped the technique. Sawdust replaced sand, then foam appeared for the jumpers to land on. It was all in place for Fosbury to give it a try. Out there in Mexico City, Fosbury was already not like the other guys. He didn't like to practice. He was a loner. He missed the opening ceremony to drive out to see the pyramids, watching the sunset and sleeping in a van. And his skills were as much in his head as in his legs. Fosbury psyched himself up for each jump, winning the 80,000 crowd onto his side and getting them to will him over the bar. When the newspapers first saw Fosbury jump before the games, they said he was like a two-legged camel. They dismissed him as a curiosity, but this camel went through the start of the competition without knocking the bar off once. There were only 3 men left at 2 meters 20 centimeters. All were guaranteed at least a bronze. Ed Carruthers, United States, and Valentin Gavrilov, Soviet Union, both joined Fosbury over 2 meters 20, but Gavrilov couldn't get over 2 meters 22. Carruthers couldn't get over 2 meters 24, but Fosbury, like a champion, dug deep. His leap over the bar at 2 meters 24 centimeters set a new Olympic record and won him a gold medal. Fosbury never came back to the Olympics as an athlete after that day in Mexico City, but his name sure did. He said, "I think quite a few kids will begin trying it my way now. The Fosbury flop is now the only way to fly."
There are a lot of lessons from Fosbury in that sense. Your ideas did not come from what you are doing currently. Your ideas can come from unknown, unexpected dimensions. How the guy started bookmyshow.com was when he was traveling in Joburg and Durban. Suddenly he thought, I want to visit this particular show, I'm not able to go for this. Then he came with the idea of bookmyshow.com. Airbnb came up with that idea. They went, they could not find a place to stay, so they created Airbnb. So any new idea coming up essentially comes from unknown dimensions also. And Fosbury was trying to combine what he already knew with what is absolutely totally different domain for himself. So he set a base, set a base actually. He actually based a train because many people followed him. Correct? So you started creating something like this, the meaning of basing the train. I'm going to talk about 6 people whom I know personally. Right? Okay. Let's go one by one. First one is a person called Rajesh Panda, 1997-99, SPJMR pass out. He runs a company called Corporate Gurukul in Singapore based. And yesterday he won an award in India for some specific thing like, a best employer award or something like that. So what he does is something very simple. He connects the students in the campus to the companies, creating internship opportunities for them, and he also enables companies to get the right kind of people. He also does the people to do finishing. What is also finishing school fundamentally make you ready for your. He tied up with multiple colleges in India also. Okay, if you're interested, I can give his connection. So this guy is phenomenal. He blazed his trail. He started his career with this idea. You're getting the point? He started the career with the idea, and he was able to elaborate it, extend it. He has got tie-up with multiple what you call colleges worldwide. So this is the first example where somebody didn't take a placement from the college, that too from a college like SPJ, and then went for creating his own trade. There's another classmate called Madan Padaki. He's in Bangalore. Multiple investments already made, and he has multiple exits he has made also. Phenomenal investor. He heads the TI in Bangalore. The second example I want to give is ARUN Narasimhan. He's across in IIT Madras. So we played cricket together, much in that to me in fact. And ARUN could not get admission to IIT. Brilliant guy. You know what happened? Simple example. ARUN was in his 6th standard or something like this. We were playing cricket. I was in my 11th or something like this. I asked ARUN, as a kid, which is the farthest planet? Okay, every kid said Pluto. ARUN said, yesterday onwards Uranus, Neptune. Because the previous day, Neptune and Pluto crossed the path for about 6 years. Neptune was the farthest than Pluto. And this kid in 600 was able to tell me that in a remote place like Sri Lanka. ARUN said, no, I will come back to IIT. That's what ARUN said. He went to US. In fact, he didn't go the usual route of going to US. He submitted some papers, which was impressive for the, what do you call, professor there. He didn't study from great college, engineering college. The college he studied is no more in existence in Tamil Nadu. Mukambika College. Nobody heard about the college. And he wrote papers, and then he called him. He paid him and called him and gave him internship. Then he came back to India and became an IIT professor. He's a big music critic. Tamil Nadu is one place where, especially Chennai, in December we have a music festival, Carnatic music festival. He's a very, very popular music critic. He's a prolific writer. He has written multiple books on science in Tamil. He has written a few novels in Tamil, doing what he loves to do, blazing his own trail. These two started their career with a very clear intention of doing something like this. Let us take two examples who didn't start their career in the way they wanted to start. The first example is, once again, R. Ilango of Kuttambakam. There's a village called Kuttambakam near Chennai. Ilango was a textile engineer, and he was working in that research lab. He was absolutely having the urge of going and serving the people. So he started an NGO, tried to serve the people. That didn't work at all. He realized the only way to serve the people is to get into governance. So he became the corporator for his village, Panchayat board president for the village, and he started creating Kuttambakam as a model village, which is a self-sufficient village. You can go to Google and search his name. He has created more than 5,000 model, based on the model, he has created more than 5,000 villages worldwide. In Africa, in Europe, in India, Northern India, everywhere, he has created villages based on this model. Again, somebody blazing his trail, pursuing his passion, realizing what he is good at much later. So it is not that you have to start blazing the trail right away. Please keep exploring. Please try to find out what you are good at. As you go further, you realize you are bad at many things. That's the way I realized it also. Many would have said the same thing before also. Am I correct? You will start realizing and exploring where you are bad at. And if you are lucky, you will land in what you are good at faster. Right? The fourth example is Shivaram Subramanian. He is an investment banker from ICICI Security. He was heading fixed investment portfolio. He was heading ICICI. He quit his job one fine day about exactly 11 years back and said, I'm going to become wildlife photographer. He donated all his beautiful warehouse and shirts and everything to the security guys and everybody there around and started going for this thing. I have been to Carbet twice with him. He is an absolutely hot. He goes to Carbet every month. Wherever he finds that's a typical wildlife photographer. He became a hardcore wildlife photographer. He doesn't make money like other wildlife photographers. Rather, he doesn't even sell his things. He says, I am shooting it for my pleasure. Crazy guy. Okay, so absolutely, it is not that he's said very clearly, how I decided to go for being a wildlife photographer. I created a corpus, then I moved towards wildlife photography. So first 15 years of his career, he created the corpus. Then he said, I think I got enough money now. Somebody has to have the guts to say, I got enough now, let me get into pursue what I want to do. So he is a wildlife photographer. These two are examples where in a midway of the career, you decide to blaze the trail. You become naturally resilient. Am I correct? I'll give two more examples who after retirement started blazing the trail. The first person is Solar Suresh. You can do a Google search on this uncle, on this Tata. Okay. Solar Suresh is an IIT graduate, and he has a house which is self-sufficient. He grows his own rice, he grows his own what you call vegetables, he generates his own water, he recycles his own water, don't ask me which water, and he uses what you call this thing also, solar, he uses biogas, he is self-sufficient, he doesn't have to step out of his house for his living. Phenomenal guy, blazing the trail, post-retirement, he's about 72. Okay, so age is not a matter, getting my point. So we can, Zoho is another great book, it's another classic example. That he created the real unicorn, not in valuation but in sales. The last example I want to share is Mr. Professor N.S. Govindan. N.S. Govindan was a botany graduate. Because of his family considerations, he has to go for a job at the age of 19. He got into C&AG, Control Audit General of India, retired from C&AG at the age of 60. So post 60, what do? I can do one thing, I can become accountant everywhere. Everybody will give a job for him. But he said no. His daughter told him, any goofy can be an accountant, but not many can be a teacher. You are a good teacher, try to do that. So he started teaching indirect taxes. Fortunately, in a way for him, at that time, indirect taxes was introduced as a subject in CA also. He started teaching CA students indirect taxes. At the age of 60, he started his career, I would say. Till the age of 80, he was very active in doing that. He has written 5 books on indirect taxes. At the age of what you call 70 plus. Okay, highly respected what you call teacher, highly respected author. Even today, people remember him. Post his quote unquote retirement 80, he started acting in dramas. He died on 31st October 2021. 15 days before he died, he published a book in Amazon on English embellishment. So if you look at somebody can blaze the thread at any age, it's a classic example. Now, why I am telling this, friends, is don't get distraught by what you are going to choose now. Where you will land later is totally different from what you are going to choose now. It is not going to matter at all. But choose something. You have to choose something. Okay? How do I choose it? Go further. They say, how do I place the rail? Go further. The way you can choose something is following. Some of the senior previous speakers are talking about Ikigai. Right? You know that very well, so I will not waste your time on that. So it starts with what you love. The next one is what you are good at. If what you love and what you are good at matches, that is typically what you call as a passion. For example, I am so thrilled, I love singing. If I start singing, you will remember of words. My name is Hariharan. But once in SPJ, 2 guys were discussing. Okay, who is the better Hariharan? This singer Hariharan or this Hariharan? So ultimately, the fellows who are supporting my cause was giving a very clinching argument. So how do you, when do you listen to singer Hariharan? Late night, before I sleep, I switch on singer Hariharan. That is cassettes used to have. We used to listen to singer Hariharan, switch off the cassette, and then we'll sleep. If Hariharan speaks, he will sleep automatically. Okay, so it's not a big deal. So if Hariharan speaks, you will sleep. So therefore, Hariharan is more effective than singer. Correct? So the point is, I love singing, but nobody can hear that. So it should be so. Therefore, don't go by a myth that you should do what you love to do. Please go with the clarity. You should do what you are good at. You will automatically love it. So please be clear about it. It's not like passion is not searching behind what you are bad at. Passion comes from going behind what you are good at. So please be clear about this. Third level is going to be what the world needs. What the world needs and what you love to do, if that matches, you are on a mission. You are on a mission. Okay, but you are not good at it, you love it. Next one, what you can be paid for. Ultimately, I need money also. So, what you can be paid for and what the world is, it matches, you are in a vocation. Other two, if you combine, you are actually having a profession. But these boxes are very critical. These boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, are very risky boxes. Let us look at it carefully and understand what it means. Go one by one. The first one, it fulfills the three conditions. You love it, you are good at, and it is what the world needs, but you are not getting paid for it. I find many singers, especially in the case of what you call your entertainment industry, you find it a lot. You find a lot of people who are extremely good at, people want it, but they don't get paid for it. Am I correct? So this is typically delight and fullness, but no wealth. Right? Something like mine, sir. Now go further. You have what you love, what you need, and what you paid for, but you are not good at it. This is quite possible in many companies, senior level position people. Joined the company as a finance, thrilled with finance and joined the company. Ultimately realized he's absolutely useless, but somehow or other he got up the ladder and he's working very well. There, you will have excitement, complacency, but sense of uncertainty. Kabhi bhi kuch bhi ho sakta hai. Democracy sword on the head. Very clear. Next one. Good at, world needs, paid for, but I don't love it. This is where comfortable but feeling of emptiness. I was taking classes in SPJ, management accounting. 1997 to 2003, I was taking classes. I was getting bored. So I went into ML Shihad, sir, next year onwards, I am not going to take it. He said very clearly, you are getting a good rating of 9.5 and 10. Why don't you continue this? I said, I am feeling bored, I am feeling jaded. I am not enjoying that anymore. I decided I am not going to teach costing, which I was very comfortable doing. I was getting paid for it. The students wanted it. I was good at it. I ceased to love it. I stopped doing it. Because if I do that, typically, yeah, satisfaction but feeling of uselessness. This is third box, primary. Okay. So all these things put together is where you are going to get your ikigai. But this ikigai will keep changing. It's not going to be the same ikigai every time. So when you are trying to go in the journey of life, you will keep on changing your ikigai. Your ikigai will never be constant. Please be very clear about it. It will never be constant. Therefore, it is critical for me to develop a kind of a skill to keep searching my ikigai consistently. Go for that. So, for attaining your ikigai, there are 5 qualities you require. Okay? What are these 5 qualities which you require to attain your ikigai? Anybody has read Ramayana? No Ramayana? Which character you will always associate with achieving things? Ravan didn't achieve that. Ram suffered through Hanuman. If you think of having an employee like Hanuman is the best. Correct? So, when Hanuman was sent to Lanka in search of Sita, he was crossing that thing. And when he was crossing that, he was removing multiple hurdles. He was consistently getting multiple uncertainties. Am I correct? So, lots of black swan events are happening for him. Multiple black swan events he was able to overcome comfortably, and he was growing stronger with every moment. He was actually anti-fragile. When he was moving, he had few birds were flying, they were talking. You know what? This person, he has got 4 qualities which make him achieve anything. So what are those 4 qualities? The bird said, the 4 qualities are, he has got courage. He's so strong. He's not strong, he's very not daring, correct? It's called Dhiti. He's having that kind of a courage. He's not afraid of failure. And he's got an absolute clarity of vision. Alice in Wonderland, very old story. Alice was walking in the forest. She meets a cat. She asks the cat, "Hey cat, please tell me which way I have to go." Oh, that depends upon where you want to go. I don't know, then it doesn't matter which way you go. You may not have a clarity about where you are going to reach in 20 years' time, but you must have a clarity of what you are going to do for the next 1 year. You getting my point? Don't expect to have a clarity for 10 years down the line. You will never get. You are not Dhirubhai Ambani. Okay. He is blessed in that sense, I would say. So you should have an absolute clarity about where you want to reach. Dhirubhai Ambani, I'll tell you about. The end I will talk about quickly for about 10 seconds. Why I said this. So, Driti, Drishti. Drishti is vision. So you should have a courage, you should have vision, but it's not enough. Okay, you should have the basic intellect. Buddhi chahiye. Correct? Mati, you require that. You should know, you should be skillful in doing what you're doing. And not all these three things are not enough. You should be in a position to implement it. One of the biggest failure points of people in marketing is essentially they create ideas, they don't complete it. So the Dakshyam is the fourth skill we talked about. You can now press it. Yasya Tvetani Chatvari, Vanarendra Yatotava, Dhritir Drishtir Matir Dakshyam, Swakarmana Siddha. This is typically what the Valmiki Ramayana talks about. I given a color code clearly. Dhriti Drishti Mati Dakshyam. You can now press the thing, you'll get the answer also. Courage, vision, intellect, and skill. Skill is primarily capability to complete. In fact, with your experience of last almost 18 to 20 years, or your aware experience of last 12 years, correct? Till 6 I cannot consider it, correct? Though the maximum learning happens the first 6 years. Is that not? What I learned the first 6 years is much more than what I learned in the last 6 years. So in the last 10 years, if you look at it, many times you would have struggled to complete some things. Am I correct? You start something, but you struggle to complete certain things. You see that? Hanuman talks about it beautifully in Valmiki Ramayana, where he says, when you are doing something, you should do a lot of small things which will complete the process. Where we feel is, we don't do those small things, little things. Dhoni the finisher, we call about it. Am I correct? The reason is primarily he completes those little things. So the Dakshyam essentially comes from completing this particular set. So these are the 4 skills which are critical for you. For example, if you are looking at facing a kind of a black swan event individually or as a world as a whole, the first thing you require is courage. Correct? It's not going to hell is not going to have follow the gate. You will realize in the case of Turkey that I'm not going to be alive tomorrow. But can I just remain idle for this? No. I must have a vision. If anything happens, I manage it. But what I need to do is what I have to think of. When the pandemic started, lockdown started, I have no clue because I'm in consulting. And my kind of consulting, I need to go to the ground physically. You can do training remotely. How do I do consulting remotely? We started developing models for consulting remotely. Now my model is a hybrid model of both remote and also physical. You have to really become a hydra like this in a position to what you call, look at how I can create opportunities like this. So that is where your drishti becomes extremely important. You should be always at it. You have to keep expanding your skills. When I asked the question, how many of you are going to be in the domain of information management, none of you raised your hand. I made an observation at the time. All of you are going to be in that. Trust me, you will. Everybody has to be in that. I'm not asking you to become a coders. You are not going to be programmers. Even now, you cannot live without digital world. Am I correct? Yes or no? You cannot live without Instagram for at least for some time. I know that. Correct? So you cannot live without what you call using your mobile for being a whole thing. Am I correct? So unless you are going to create value for the customer by integrating your digital world, you are not going to be a good marketer. Unless you are able to integrate the digital world to the kind of processes, you cannot be a good operations person. Unless you integrate your digital world to the mindset of people. For example, if I have to employ people of your generation, I must be very clear, your attention span is very low because the distractions you have is much more than what I had at that age. Am I correct? You are more exposed to things than what I was and what I am. It's a fact. So therefore, I have to be clear about I should be enticing for you to be with me in my company. Unless I am enticing enough, I cannot retain the talent. So it is going to be extremely difficult. Unless I understand the digital context, I cannot handle this. If you are in finance, you must be a digital savvy. No other option. When I went to my auditor's office on day 1, 1996, my auditor gave me Madras telephone directory and told me, add the numbers, total the numbers from page number 270 to 279, give me column wise total, page wise total, and grand total. No, I'm not exaggerating, seriously. Without calculating, I have to do it. I did it. And then he found 2 or 3 mistakes in them, and I had to correct it also. But the point is, today's accountant, he doesn't require that skill. Am I correct? You don't need that skill of adding. Doesn't make sense. But that was a critical skill in 1986 because I have to tally the bank balance. It is an absolutely useless skill in current context. I used to memorize and say 16 into 16, how much, everything I can say. But these days it doesn't make any sense to memorize that. Are you getting the context of what I mean? Why? Because it's gone digital. So you cannot avoid becoming digital. So Mati essentially is you have to upskill yourself. Dakshyam, any idea you are coming up with, you have to see a logical conclusion for the idea. You cannot leave it hanging. Starting is very easy. Dropping is much easier. Sustaining something is very difficult. If you can try to do that, that's where the action comes in. Okay, what is the fifth one? Let us go further. Press quickly. Yeah. The fifth trait is something very, very interesting. Don't worry, another 20 minutes. Let us stop. Okay. 32 ವರ್ಷ class ಇದೆ. He's seeing the what? Ask her to wait. Okay. The fifth trait fundamentally is that go. Hanuman was absolutely despondent. He could not see Sita at all. When he could not see Sita at all, he was wondering, what am I going to do? I'm not able to see Sita at all. I have lost everything. So at that time, he was so desperate, he was becoming depressed. One of the most dangerous things for anybody is to getting depressed. So when you get depressed, you cannot think logically, you cannot think reasonably. So he says, non-depression is the most critical skill which I should have, which I have. Anirveda Sriyom, Anirveda Paramshakam, Anirveda is Sarvarteshu Pravartita. So typically he talks about Anirveda is non-depression. Non-depression is the basis for all wealth. Non-depression, if you see, why do you like Dhoni? Because you will never find Dhoni depressed. Am I correct? You will never find somebody like what you call, you take the current context, you will not find somebody like Messi depressed. You will find some kind of equanimity. Am I correct? What Krishna calls as a Sthita Prajna, indifferent to pressure or pain, stoic. You have to maintain that equilibrium, equanimity or equipoise is the English word for this. So that comes only when you are non-depressed. It is a Sriyomulam, Anirveda Paramshakam. It is the most comfortable situation to be is non-depression. You have to develop that mindset. So therefore, if you go further quickly, go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Your Ikigai, that star, comes from 5 critical aspects what you have to develop: courage, dhriti, vision, drishti. Yeah, plus. When I'm telling you, it will come there. Should come there. Vision, mati, which is intellect, dakshyam, which is your skill, and non-depression. Anirveda. If you have this 5, you live happily ever. But who is going to test and check this? Your dad. Your dad has to look at you and say, hey, today you seem to be losing courage. What's happening? I think you have lost your purpose. The best guy you should trust for understanding whether you are in this journey is who is the guy? Yourself. How? Go for that. Your answer will be the man in the mirror. I will read it out for you in small font. When you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you a king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what the man has to say. A man includes woman. Huh? What the man has to say. For it isn't a man's father, mother, or wife whose judgment upon him must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in life is the man staring back from the glass. Every day morning, look at that guy. If you can see him in the eyes confidently, I think you have done a good job. If you have guts, look at your eyes. Look at your eyes in the mirror, you realize what I mean by this. He is a fellow to please, never mind all the rest. For he is with you clear to the end, and you have passed your most dangerous difficult test. The man in the glass is your friend. You can pull the whole world down the pathway of years and get pat in the back as you pass. But the final reward will be heartache and tears if you have cheated the man in the glass. So every morning, if you want to really understand or you pursuing an ikigai, look at the man in the mirror and answer yourself. Thank you so much. With that, I am concluding my session. Any questions? I open the
Sir, you
questions.
did tell about Dhirubhai Ambani.
Yeah, thanks. See, Dhirubhai Ambani, as you know, was actually doing a petrol pump in EMINENT, right? When he came to India, he started doing finding out what he should do. So he went and first loan he got was a loom. Loom is primarily the textile machine to make the yarn, correct? Okay. When he purchased the loom, he took a sheet of paper, and the loan sanction was done. He took the paper and then circled something. The manager asked him, "What is the circling?" "Oh, this is my plan." "What's the plan?" The plan had oil restoration to ready-made garments. And this guy is buying a loom, one loom. Not many can have this kind of a machine. It's impossible to have a discussion. When he started, he can't say that I'm going to be from PE salary, am I correct? Before he died, he achieved it, right? So starting from what you call from there. It's not that they're not doing badly. Mukesh Ambani was able to improve it much better. The second one could not do it, correct? But he was able to do it very well because he was exactly following what he said. Right. So the focus of what you're doing is very clear. Ambani had it, not millions of salary. I don't have it. It is. I cannot. Somebody asked me, "Hey, what you will be doing by the stage of a career?" I couldn't have answered. I'm doing consulting and design. I'm doing consulting operations. My qualification, I'm an accountant. Are you getting my context now? I never set out that I should become a consultant in design when I started out. That what is nothing to do with that. Ambani is an exception. That's what I said. Am I correct? Make sense? Yes. Thank you. Thanks for reminding. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah, you raised the hand, so you should ask a question. Yeah, either the whole session is useless or everything is gone in totally immersed. I want three questions, so then I cannot do it now.
Sir, as a consultant, what are the initial few areas or aspects you focus on while working with the client for the upliftment of your company?
See, first thing what we focus is when I visit a client, I try to understand who is the customer of that client. Is it? Once you have the clarity, you start thinking about okay, if this is what that customer is looking for, is he delivering? So the first principle I take is the purpose principle. The second principle I take up is I try to check with them how do you measure the performance of your people. I try to spend time with the HR person to understand this more a little bit more because ultimately people behave in the way performance is measured. Am I correct? So when I understand the performance metric which is followed by the company, I understand why somebody is behaving in a particular way. Then I get into the alignment of process. So this is the typical quote unquote template I follow very carefully. So therefore, if the company is going to be doing work in something like web crawling, web scraping. Heard about web crawling, web scraping? Anybody? Web crawling, web scraping? Yeah. Web crawling, web scraping. Crawling, you know, what is that?
When we answer before, there's an AI bot which searches for the keyword for the database tab.
Perfect. Typically, what Google does is a web crawling. So, web scraping is fundamentally you ask the thing that hey, I want to know the price of this particular product across different people who are serving. Then I have to really do a scraping. It's not simple. Google search cannot give you. Google search will give you useless billion pages. Am I correct? How many of you cross the first page in Google? Never, not beyond the first five. Am I correct? So whereas web scraping will take some time. One company came to consulting first. Said that we want to improve our process. I don't even know what is electronic scraping. First time I'm hearing the word from them. Are you getting my point? So how do I understand? So then you understand what is the customer is doing. Then align the process. That's a way to look at it. Okay? Yeah.
Sir, also, how can companies incorporate sustainable practices, especially the large-scale companies, because they have a larger impact on the planet?
See, first and foremost, sustainable practices essentially come from a mindset. I'll give a couple of examples that will become easier for it to appreciate. You know about Tanish? Definitely know Tanish. Okay? What Tanish does? Jewelry. Correct. So about 7 years back, there was a report. Somebody said that a Tanish is using blood diamond. What is blood diamond?
The labor, the
The who dig the thing from the mines are actually the Tanish was shocked. We don't. We buy it from Surat. We are not buying blood diamond. But Surat is buying from Brussels. Brussels is buying from Africa, where the people are working in human conditions. The first reaction of Tanish is something phenomenal. The first reaction was they changed the name of sourcing department to responsible sourcing department. Matter, name matters. So when you say responsible sourcing, what do you mean by this? You are responsible for the source integrity. You are responsible for the Karigar's welfare. So it comes from the ethos of somebody like a Tata. Am I correct? See, any business starts the business with the intention of creating wealth for the investor. But we tend to forget planet and people, and that is why double bottom line. So if something cannot be followed automatically, it has to be enforced. Right? It doesn't happen automatically. For example, in this second, I said two examples. Second example, cement companies. I'm talking about 1980s. When you go to any town having a cement plant, when you go to the place and come out, everybody will be grey, used to be grey in color. So when you visit a cement plant, as soon as you go to say, when you come out of a cement plant, they give you coconut oil and jaggery. Because coconut oil is to take bath, remove all the cement on top. Jaggery, you have to eat it because it has got the capability to remove all the dust from inside and take it out. At that time, the government came and said you have to install ESP. ESP is not extrasensory perception, electrostatic precipitator. Every cement company opposed it. No, we will not do it. Right? Because when they started implementing this, they realized actually they're making money. So it is very critical for if something has to be followed, sometimes it has to be enforced. It has to be a benevolent dictator at times. Thank you. Third question, yes. Hey, Lisa. Third question.
when you have a good idea and you know that there may be substitutes, so how do you prepare for that? To deal with substitutes, right?
Brilliant, yes. Excellent question. When you have a good idea, but when you have substitutes, how do you deal with this? See, when I started my consulting, who is my competition? Other consulting. That's why I started. Later on, I realized my biggest competition is a substitute, which is actually employees working within the company. Am I correct? Because you are working in the company, you will say, why the hell I should call a consultant? I'll do it myself. I know everything better than the consultant. Correct? No consultant knows better than the people working within the company. But the challenge for people working within the company is they're inside the system, inside a challenge, so they cannot see the challenge. The reason I ask you to see the mirror is because you want to see yourself as somebody else. Right? Okay. Because if I see you, I may be biased. Correct. But if you see yourself, you will not be biased. Correct? Okay. Now coming back to the point. So the people working within the company are assuming that they know everything. It is a fact they know everything. But they are inside the problem, so they don't even see the challenge. So how do I counter this? So I started engaging with companies and telling them, boss, you have to create internal capabilities of operational excellence. So I start companies to create operational excellence teams inside the company. So I, instead of competing with that substitute called the employee, I co-opted the employee into my service area. Makes sense? So then the model becomes sustainable. The question is very sharp. It is extremely important to realize that substitutes, how do you handle substitutes, is what is very critical for anybody in marketing. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Thank you. Please, sir. Thank you. Four.
Sir, when you said about vision,
Go ahead.
sir, when you said about vision, you told that
Vision.
You told that no one can predict that where they will be in the next 25 years. But you also told that one can predict the next 1 year.
You can reasonably predict the next 1 year. I use the word reason.
You also told that we can predict the next 1 year. So by vision, what do we mean? The long-term vision?
Long-term vision only. You should have some kind of a clarity I want to reach. You should have, sorry if I misled you, I didn't mean that you cannot have a vision. Sorry. I didn't mean that. What I meant fundamentally is you can have absolute clarity for the next 1 or 2 years. You may not have a great clarity about later. But these 1 or 2 years, you always start with an idea about where you want to land about 5 years later. Am I correct? But when you in the path, you realize, hey, it is not this path I am taking is not taking me there. Or you realize, hey, that is not where I want to go. I want to go somewhere. It's quite possible. That will happen in those 2 years. You should be open for that. Are you getting my point? What I mean? So I'm sorry if I misled you. I didn't mean that. You should have a vision. You should have some kind of an idea where you want to reach. That's what I said earlier. If you don't know where you want to go, you don't know which way you are going. But the path is very long. Am I correct? Off-roader. That is it. It's called off-roading. So typically the path is very long. You can predict what is happening in the next 2 steps. But you have to adjust, adapt, maneuver yourself to move beyond. Therefore, you must have a vision. You should have a clarity about what you are doing in the next few. We should take you towards one step towards that vision. I hope I answered the question. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
You said that you're an accountant. Sir, you said that you're an accountant. You said that you thought for 32 years. So, sir, how did you find the path of consultant? Like, how?
See, first when I started, it was more like, I don't want to be in employment, so I quit. Put it very simply. In my life, I never applied for a job. The first job also I got it. Second job also I got it. I was called for an interview, so I went for the interview. First and second job. So when I passed my CA, I was not having a great clarity what am I going. Chalo kuch option mila, let us go to Bombay. Right? I came to Bombay. When I started doing, I started realizing I was bad at it. I was not comfortable doing it. Being a chartered accountant, I have an advantage that I can always say I am a CA practice. Correct? See, CA has got 2 advantages. When you are pursuing CA, you can always say I am doing CA. It's a present continuous tense. Right? Never ending journey, I can take a long journey of CA. Second thing is, when you are doing a CA practice, you can say I am doing the CA practice. Nobody is going to ask you any question. I did everything which an accountant must do: accounting, auditing, loan syndication, taxation, everything I did. But when you're doing it, you start realizing you are not comfortable with that, you are not good at it. Correct. Then you start exploring what you are good at. So I landed in costing. When I started doing costing, I started realizing, hey, I enjoy costing. I took commerce because I didn't like science. Many of us are like, am I correct? I did commerce because I didn't like science, I came into commerce. But now my consulting is totally into manufacturing, operations, process. I know how FQO is getting converted to FQO. Because I realized after going to the shop floor, I realized this is where my mojo is. So I stumbled upon it as you go further. See, when you start searching for it, you get into it. Are you getting my point? So then you start searching. I start searching for what causes cost. I landed in process. What causes cost? I started in design. So that's the way I want to. This is a natural progression. I'm still an accountant. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing some of your wisdom with us. I'd now like to invite Ms. Nisha Telam on stage to present sir with the momentum.
Good evening, all. Thank you so much, sir. It's always good to be back in class. Okay. This 3 days of Business Conclave, you generally learn from textbooks, but the idea behind Business Conclave is to learn from people who are like living textbooks from their experiences. The journey, the process teaches the maximum. It helps us shape our journeys, and that's the whole idea with which we went on to conduct the business conclave. I take this opportunity to thank our management for creating that environment where we can do such events. Our principal ma'am for her constant support, the whole BMS team, and of course all our speakers. So, it was so beautiful. We started with a 23-year-old speaker who came connected with you, your age, similar experiences, spoke about being the COVID batch. And today we are here ending the journey with Sir with immense experience, 30, 32 years, and the enthusiasm and the energy remains the same. So, very beautiful journey of this 3 days. I'd like to thank all our speakers, the amazing core team, Rachan and his team, for bringing in this whole event together. A big round of applause. I cannot tell you guys how proud I am of all of them. Excellent work, guys. Very good. And of course, you all. It takes a lot of effort to be there for 3 days, continuously sitting there, listening, taking sessions. And after that, we know that COVID, mute. You guys have gone through that. And you cannot mute us here. So thank you so much for your patience, but I'm sure it was a great learning for all of you. And yeah, we close the Business Conclave 2023. Looking forward for an amazing Business Conclave 2024. Thank you guys.
बंद करना चालू के बाद वो चालू कर
हो गया ना
बंद कर दो
Take me out. breeze the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Safe and fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me